There are many people who believe that if they just keep their head down during the culture war, they will be okay. Just don't let anyone see you or hear you and you will be fine. And that's not true. Eventually, they will come for you, going door to door figuratively until they find your industry and your job, and then you lose that job. Now, many people think just throw your head in with them. It's the safer bet because they're the ones who control the cultural institutions. They're the ones who control the media. So just agree with them, right? And that's how you know you'll be safe. Well, right now, we are seeing exactly what happens when you throw your hat in with a group that does not have rules other than bend the knee to the tribe. You see, for the longest time, the woke cult was saying that Asians are actually privileged. In fact, in many ways, they are more privileged than white people and have more privilege than white privilege. We saw this reflected in standardized testing, SAT scores, for instance, Asian admission into colleges. These are areas where the left actively discriminates. There were a lot of disparaging words used by many of these woke people because Asians were not considered to be underprivileged or marginalized. And it was such a common trope that on the Timcast IRL podcast, we often jokingly refer to me, or I do, as double white because I'm Asian and white. So I'm double white, which means I'm double privileged. Well, something changed. Now we are seeing, once again, Asians are being considered a minority. And it's become kind of strange, actually. We had this big story about a teen Vogue editor. 10 years ago, this woman, I believe she's a black woman. They call her a female POC. She wrote disparaging tweets about Asian people. And it's 10 years on, she lost her job as editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue because of this. James Lindsay, who is likely the preeminent scholar and critic of critical race theory, pointed out this could be a breaking point for the woke cult because we are now seeing a black woman lose her job for 10 years ago insulting Asians. It's really interesting to see this all catching up now with the woke cultists who thought they could speak with impunity. They thought they knew what the rules were. You see, for the longest time, you were allowed to disparage Asians. And now that you're not, these old tweets are coming home to roost, and these people are now going to start losing their jobs. They thought they were allowed to make these jokes because no one canceled them for it. Now they've come for themselves. It makes me wonder, too. In, I believe it was New York, there was a Stop Asian Hate rally, and they happened to have come across a Stop Uyghur Genocide rally. Now, many on the left are calling the people who are criticizing China neckbeards and things like that, but it does show a very interesting clash. China is absolutely jumping on the Stop Asian Hate bandwagon. Now, let me just point out before I go further, don't hate people based on race, man. Seriously. Is it that hard? Apparently it is for a lot of these woke people because, well, when they were deciding they were woke, they thought it was okay to insult people who they believed had more privilege. Then something happens in the news, you know, a variety of stories, one atrocity, actually. And now the focus is on ending hate crimes against Asians. To be honest, we should always be focused on ending hate crimes in general. We should be focused on stopping violence. But these people were allowed to be racist. That's the point. And now I can prove to you, these people are self-avowed racists. They write books. They call themselves racist. They post racist things, but the media protected them. Now that the narrative has shifted, these old racist posts are, well, they're destroying themselves. I have a couple stories I want to go through. I have the story from the Daily Mail. San Francisco school board member refuses to resign for her 2016 tweets calling Asian Americans... I can't even say this on YouTube. She called them people who embrace white supremacist thinking to get ahead. They say the entire senior staff of the San Francisco schools has denounced a black school board member's tweets that claimed Asian Americans use white supremacist thinking to get ahead. In her tweets, she also referred to Asian Americans as house disparaging term. Maybe you don't know. I don't know. This is YouTube. I can't say these things. On Sunday, 19 top administrators to the district's central office condemned the 2016 tweets from the board's vice president, Allison Collins, according to the San Francisco Chronicle. The city's top elected officials, including its mayor, nearly all city supervisors, and the area's state legislatures all called for Collins to resign, but she hasn't. The school official said the tweets perpetuate gross and harmful stereotypes and leave no room for nuance or potential misunderstanding. Their statement addressed Collins' tweets that she shared on December 4th, 2016. It seems like this black, she's a teacher, black school board member, was trying to get more Asians to join the woke cult. Her Twitter thread started with, "Hey, Twitter, does anyone know about any news stories highlighting hate speech or bullying of Asian students? Please send them my way." She said, "I'm looking to combat anti-black racism in the Asian community at my daughter's mostly Asian AM school. Many Asians, S and Ts I know, won't engage in critical race convos unless they see how they are impacted by white supremacy." Well, she goes on to make several disparaging terms. It has now been about 4 years, and she is at risk of losing her job over this. Now, you may have seen the story about the Teen Vogue editor. Check this out. The Hill reports forcing black Teen Vogue editor to resign over tweets is cancel culture at its worst. I have to agree. I think it's insane and it's stupid. I don't think these people should lose their jobs for, past offensive statements. Now, there's a big difference between this woman, Alexia McCammond, who 10 years ago said something dumb as like a high school student, and this teacher who's a legit racist and racial supremacist. That woman probably should be fired because it seems like she directly violated, I think it's Title 7? The Title 6? She violated the 1964 Civil Rights Act. There you go. She should lose her job over this. She's still apparently there, or I guess she's a board member. She should be forced out for violating the law. Now, we have a development in the Teen Vogue case. It appears the number 2 editor at Teen Vogue is also heading for the exit. This is really interesting. They say Teen Vogue's number 2 editor is leaving the Condé Nast title a day after Alexia McCammond, who is set to become editor-in-chief next week, resigned in a firestorm of controversy over racist tweets she made. Quote, "I've been sitting on this announcement for a while, but today is my last day as executive editor at Teen Vogue. Working here has been one of the most rewarding, yada, yada. The work we've done at Teen Vogue is historic." Yeah, sure. They say she is seen as one of the driving forces between the digital magazine's aggressive push into coverage of LGBTQ issues and the presidential election, broadening its readership beyond the makeup and fashion world, and she declined to comment further on Friday. Her departure, however, did not appear to be tied directly to the turmoil surrounding McCammond. No, but I do highlight this as this news is coming around the same time. And what I think we're seeing with this woman leaving, they said she's one of the principal individuals who pushed them to cover some of these woke issues. Well, now she's leaving her job. Ratings are in the gutter for everybody. And if you don't adapt your business model, you will not survive. The woke thing is shifting. And that shows you how this ideology is not safe. And I hope all of you warn your colleagues, your friends and families. Maybe some of you know people. Actually, I'll put it this way. I know celebrities. They hit me up all the time, have good conversations, and they're like, "I'm just going to keep my head down." Bro, they will come for you. They come for themselves. They cancel themselves. This Teen Vogue fiasco resulted in the magazine losing a 7-figure advertising deal. They're canceling themselves. So I'll tell you this. We are watching them. There's 2 ships, okay? There's 2 big vessels, big battleships out in the ocean. They are hacking away at their own vessel. It is sinking. But there are people who are like, but I don't want to stick my head out. It's like, bro, we're all on a boat over here, all right? Our boat's chilling. We all right. If somebody who is a moderate, liberal, anti-woke says something offensive, then maybe they'll get canceled by the institutions. But there's a growing set of companies and infrastructure being built on this side, on this ship. And I'll tell you this. Maybe it's more like we're on empty shores and we're looking at this big, beautiful ship that's going up in flames. And there are people desperate to stand on it. So you may know these people. You may have friends or family who secretly tell you, colleagues secretly tell you, "I can't stand the woke stuff, but I'm going to keep my head down." We're watching what happens. We are absolutely watching what happens. There is nothing you can do. Check this out. We got another really, really funny tweet. Josh Denny highlights this tweet from a guy who highlights. Let me just start over. Ellery Smith tweeted something very offensive about Thai people. She said homemade pad Thai, and then she makes an offensive reference to Asians and their pets. Okay, when it comes to cuisine, if you know what the joke is. I won't say it because I try to keep this family friendly, and YouTube doesn't like it. Suffice to say, this woman is a progressive who I believe she's a writer for Robot Chicken. She tweeted, "Remember when someone had their SNL offer revoked after using an anti-Asian slur? And so many people thought it was an overreaction? Hateful language begets violence. Hateful jokes beget violence. They minimize and dehumanize, and they allow for the normalization of terror." This woman, she works, she's a writer on Robot Chicken, I think. Maybe not. Maybe she is. I'm pretty sure it's in her profile. Seth Green is the voice of Chris Griffin on Family Guy. Quite possibly one of the most, the hub for offensive comedy. My favorite is Tara Strong. She's a voice actress. And she does a ton of racist voiceovers for Asian people. All of these people at the time were telling jokes that were culturally acceptable. They were allowed to mock Asian people all day and night. And they did. And now that the woke ideology has determined that, sorry, Asians are now a marginalized group, they're all going to get in trouble. There's a ton of jokes on Drawn Together, which is a Comedy Central cartoon, as well as Family Guy, in which Tara Strong makes a very offensive racist stereotypes. She voices these characters to mock and belittle them based on their race, and no joke, straight up. I understand the point of jokes. I have no problem with jokes. You have Alex Borstein. Is that her name? She does a ton of racist stereotypes as well. She quite literally has a character called Mrs. Swan, who is like an old Chinese woman who's really dumb. That's everything they did. Each and every one of these people in these industries who have refused to speak out and speak up against this, they are coming for you next. And we can see it, starting with the low-hanging fruit like Ellery Smith. Josh Denny tweets, "Hilarious, and guess what? She won't be fired or dropped by her agents or any of the stuff because she's liberal and she's suckling at the teat. Cancel culture is and always been about bankrupting and removing conservatives from Hollywood." I disagree. Josh, I disagree. I get your point. And you might be right in this regard. But look at Alexi McCammond. She was writing unethically as a journalist to benefit the Joe Biden administration. They should have every reason to love her. But they don't. We then get this guy. Seth Simon says, "The people coming after Ellery are some of the worst pieces of ish on the internet. I've been dealing with them for 18 months. All they do is worship comedy's biggest racists and harass anyone who criticizes them. I encourage you to block and report everyone you see." Wait. They worship the biggest racists and harass anyone who criticizes them? Yo, Ellery Smith is getting criticized for being racist, dude. Therein lies. But you know what? I think it's fair to point out. She's more so being criticized for making racist jokes while claiming to be opposed to racism. Tim Dillon says, Seth harassed a woman and Ellery Smith thinks Thai people, and their pets and cuisine. You get the point. These are your progressive heroes, a literal confirmed abuser of women and a hack racist television writer. I encourage you to hold them accountable. He says, also, they're both big time white. Oh, there you go. That's, yeah. Let me show you this. This is really interesting. I can't tell you why this shift is happening, but I can tell you, you will get crushed. So, Seth MacFarlane, he has criticized cancel culture. I respect that. He's done, he literally, there's an episode of Family Guy where Brian tweets a dumb joke and then everyone tries to actually kill him and he's forced to move out of his house. So I can respect that. And Bill Maher has criticized this stuff too. I'm wondering when these people will boldly stand up as themselves and speak out and criticize the woke mob the same as we do. Otherwise, I'll tell you. All right. I'm a big fan of Family Guy. I love the show. It's a fun, long-standing show, and it's fun to put on. It's entertaining. I like Seth MacFarlane. What he's done with the Orville is brilliant. I think Star Trek was ruined by CBS. I'm a big fan of Seth MacFarlane. But if y'all don't stand up and speak out against this, Family Guy is on the chopping block for extremely racist jokes about Asian people. Already we heard that Family Guy said they wouldn't make jokes about gay people. Okay, so you're basically admitting that you are at fault based on your own beliefs, and you're going to continue doing all of these racist jokes. They're all on the air. In fact, aren't they on Disney Plus? Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure Disney does own, since Disney bought Fox, they own Family Guy. So now Disney owns one of the most, I don't want to say racist, but one of the shows that has the most, like the most copious amounts of racial stereotypes. Okay, that's the game you played. I'm going to be over here on YouTube and podcasts. I'm going to be hanging out with comedians like, Ryan Long. Hilarious dude. Criticizes this in basically every sketch. That's much of his humor is pointing out the absurdity of this. He's the one who gets to stand tall. If you haven't seen Ryan Long's comedy, you got to check it out because he calls out the absurdity of this cancel culture stuff. These other comedians, these comics who think that they can make all of these racist jokes or did and then not speak up. That's what I'm saying. They think they can keep their head down and they will be okay. They will come for you. Check this out. Nick Rowan tweets, really wild stuff downtown. A Stop Asian Hate rally is clashing with a pro-Uyghur drive-by. The pro-Uyghur group is shouting F China. The Asian rally is responding by calling them racist. Wait. How is it racist to demand that the Chinese Communist Party stop killing Uyghur Muslims? That's the case. Got a bunch of videos of this. They say trucks drove in circles. It says end the CCP. They're saying, look at this. The Chinese Communist Party killed 80 million people. They're not talking about Asian people. They're talking about Chinese communists. The outrage cycle is becoming a referendum on China. The East Turkestan National Awakening Movement is denouncing the drive-by protest. They say, we want to clarify that Uyghurs, East Turkestanis, are not racist. Our people are the victims of racism and genocide. Our conflict is with China's state and the CCP. This event was not organized by us, nor did any of our members participate. We don't condone racism against any group. I have to wonder, is what's driving a lot of this a narrative from China? Check it out. Xinhua News tweets on March 21st, 8 lives taken, 6 of them Asian, and the killer was just having a bad day. And they show the cop saying he was just having a very bad day. Well, as we know now, that was a rupar. For those that don't know what the slang term means, a rupar is when a journalist or an activist takes a clip out of context to make someone look bad or to spread disinformation. In this instance, this police officer apparently was the victim of a rupar where someone took a video clip where he was saying, this guy said he was having a bad day, to make it seem like the cop was saying it himself, in his own voice when he wasn't. He was paraphrasing what the guy said in an interview, this guy who committed this atrocity. You can see the problem here. This cop got canceled, even though he didn't do anything wrong, because he was the victim of a rupar. China is exploiting the rupar in order to push a narrative. Now, by all means, I don't think the narrative is all that wrong. The narrative specifically that there was a man who wanted to kill Asians. I do think we need to stop all violence against people based on race. I think racism is abhorrent. And I think and anybody who wants to criticize racism, we can disagree on everything. We can agree on these things. I'll give you credit where I agree with you. The point I'm bringing up here, China will absolutely exploit this. Xinhua News is going to push this narrative as much as possible to shift the focus off of what they're doing with these concentration camps. I have to wonder to what degree their influence plays a role in the changing narratives. Who is calling out the CCP and the Uyghur Muslims? I mean, it's mostly the same people that call out cancel culture. Well, all of a sudden now, you have the cancel culture mob endorsing the Stop Asian Hate and calling out these crimes. And my response is, okay, finally, thank you. Yes, we should have in the first place. But now they're using it to criticize those who were calling out China, saying F China. Right. They're talking about the Chinese Communist Party, not the people. The people are victims themselves, oppressed by an authoritarian regime that maintains a stranglehold over their their citizens. I have to wonder to what degree China is going to attempt to wield the woke mob. We heard this from James Lindsay on the IRL podcast just about a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago. He said that China is engaging, I believe he said this, China is engaging in political warfare. But there was a period where China used to make fun of the woke left. They call them the Baizuo. It's B-A-I-Z-U-O, Baizuo. It means white left. And it's effectively their word for SJW, social justice warrior. At a certain point, they stopped saying Baizuo and they started agreeing with them. And perhaps it's because they realized this faction was dominating in cultural institutions and destabilizing the United States. People are losing their jobs. That's damaging to our economy. Cancel culture is bad. We have no unified culture. We have disparate cultures that are fighting. It's called the culture war. And with that, we have a fracturing in the economy. Certain people are losing their jobs, losing access, and that is bad for us and good for China. The Chinese Communist Party, mind you. All of a sudden now, we're seeing Chinese state propaganda pushing the same narrative as the woke left, maybe even exacerbating, contributing, or directing much of it. I think it's fair to point out the only reason, the principal reason people are calling out stopping Asian hate is because quite literally there's been a wave of hate crimes against Asians, particularly as the coronavirus spread across the world, for sure. And that is the driving factor. Because of that, there are people who will seek to exploit the crisis, namely the Chinese Communist Party. That's what we must be watching out for. So I'll put it this way. My final thought. All right. You need to pay attention to those who would exploit a crisis to gain power. In this instance, we have Democrats and we have, well, in this instance, we have had Democrats with wokeness. Now it seems to be the Chinese Communist Party. However, what we're really witnessing right now is exactly what you will get when you throw in your hat with these people. It is only a matter of time before they cancel you. So to my friends at Family Guy and Robot Chicken and any other show that seeks to engage in racial stereotyping for humor, I understand jokes. If I don't like the joke, I just won't laugh or I'll watch something else. Certainly, people are allowed to like humor if they like it. But if you do not come out and denounce what they're doing, they're going to cancel you. And then there will be no one left to speak for you. Because you know what? No one else is going to do it if you don't do it. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. It's a different channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.